Hello, and welcome to another week of Burning Hearts, our 2026 Bible reading plan. This week is a crazy and challenging and frustrating week of reading, and here's why. We're reading 5 amazing chapters from the book of Genesis, 5 amazing stories, but we're also skipping a whole bunch of things that are super important. So I really want to encourage you. Read the 5 chapters that we've set aside, that we've selected, but if you are able, and I bet you are, read the stuff that we're skipping too, because some of it is so important and it hurts my heart that we're not reading it. But we are reading 5 chapters. Genesis 19 is about Sodom and Gomorrah. It's a horrible story, it's an ugly one, but it's an important one, because we just read through Noah and that whole thing, which is also horrible and ugly, where God destroys everyone, right? And the question that you might have been asking during Noah is, how could God be so indiscriminate? How could God just do this, right? And here's the thing, the purpose of that story isn't to answer that question. The purpose of that story isn't to highlight God's destructiveness, but rather to highlight how sinful and how filled with blood the world had become. The Sodom and Gomorrah story addresses the question, is God really so indiscriminate? And what you see there is the answer is no. In a whole city, even the faithfulness of 10 people would be enough to stand in for the rest. And that's an interesting dynamic that sets up a path of the faithfulness of a small group can stand in for the faithfulness of the rest, or the good deeds, the faithfulness of one group can lead to forgiveness for the rest. That's an important theme in the New Testament, in the rest of the Bible actually, but there's a guy named Jesus whose faithfulness stands in for the rest. So that's Genesis 19. Genesis 22 is this strange story of God's call of Abraham to sacrifice the one and only son who he loved. And there's some crossover there with Jesus, of course, and there is Isaac even carries the wood on his back, right? I mean, there's just all kinds of things happening, but in the end, spoiler alert, God is not actually calling Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, but he's calling for Abraham's faithfulness, and God is the one who ultimately provides the sacrifice, and so God provides. That story is a challenging story. It's a really important story. It's the kind of thing where it's like in Jewish studies, this is one of the most important and difficult, but also there's so much to it. I'd love to talk to you more about that at some point. And then you have Genesis 28, which is Jacob's dream, right? This is Jacob's ladder, the stairway to heaven, as it is, which was actually something more of like a pyramid or like a temple almost that led to heaven. This is such a fascinating, such an important story. If for no other reason, but on this stairway to heaven, Jacob sees angels ascending and descending, and like Jacob says, this is the temple, this is the house of God, this is the gate of heaven. And it's fascinating that in the end of John chapter 1, after Philip and Nathaniel do their come and see thing with Jesus, come and see Jesus, Jesus says, you're going to see greater things than these. In fact, very, very truly I tell you, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. The same exact words that Jesus uses of what they'll see of himself is what is used of the Jacob story. What Jesus is saying there in John 1 is that stairway to heaven, that ladder, that house of God, that gate of heaven, I am that. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the gate. I am the stairway to heaven. I am the ladder. I am the connection between you and God. That's me. Huge importance, obviously. And then you have Genesis 32, which is, this is where Jacob wrestles with God, which is another fascinating story, super important, wrestling for that blessing. We're skipping Genesis 33, which hurts my heart because it is the reuniting of Jacob and Esau, and Jesus pulls on that for the parable of the prodigal son. And it's beautiful. And then Genesis 37 is the beginning of Joseph's story. And so there is simply too much to cover in a little video like this. I really want to encourage you to read what we're not covering as well as what we are. I would love for you to ask questions. Come talk to me. Send me an email. I'd love to hear it. The Bible Project, once again, is phenomenal on everything, but on Genesis especially. They have a podcast on, they have many podcasts on Genesis, but one I think is called the Genesis Scroll. It's a podcast series from 2022, and if you want to like get Genesis in like a 10 podcast, I mean, it's phenomenal. But they have resources on their website. I encourage you to check that out. Ask me questions. Happy reading this really wildly important week from Genesis.